So welcome. Today we're going to be doing a nice, more gentle flow, all on our backs. If you have a mat, you can lay on that, or the floor, or even your bed. All the positions will be on the back. So hopefully that's a bit more comfortable than moving around all the time. And I invite us to start with the feet, the bottom of the feet together, the knees coming out. If you want to add any pillows or cushions or bolsters underneath the legs to support you, you can. Arms, hands can be on the outside, palms facing the sky, or you could place one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. Deep breaths in to the belly, the back, and deeper breaths out. Reconnecting or setting your intention for today's practice. And with the next in breath, we can place the hands on the outside of the legs, helping our legs come up to center. We can now move the legs from side to side, the knees windshield wiping to the left and to the right. Keeping attention on the breath as we do so. We can walk the legs closer to the buttocks so the heels are close to our fingertips, pressing firmly into the mat with the feet, slowly tucking the tailbone, squeezing the glutes. Hands can be planted into the ground as we slowly lift up our hips, squeezing the butt cheeks, engaging the core, and slowly coming down vertebrae by vertebrae, the hips being the last to come down. Again, squeeze tight, engaging the muscles, and repeating a few times at your own pace, maybe slower, maybe faster, beginning to bring more blood flow or energy, beginning to activate the nervous system and this part of the body. If you'd like to engage more the muscles in the chest and in the arms and in the back, really squeezing down as if you're trying to move your hands through the ground. Maybe just three more. One, two, and on the third one, we'll hold, we'll squeeze, engaging the glutes, the core. And if you want to engage more the legs, you can bring the heels closer. It's more of a muscular movement than actually moving the heels. Planting the hands, having space in between the chin and the chest, and a nice deep breath in and out. Perhaps noticing some warmth, some sensations in the muscles. And slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae in the spine, bringing the hips and the glutes down. Hands go now on the knees, bringing the legs together as we make some circles. Rolling out the lower back, moving in the other direction. Now we can grab either still on the knees or maybe on the front of the legs, the shins, maybe even squeezing with a hug as we bring the legs closer to the belly, the chest. And the lower back might have a tendency to come up. I would like for us to keep that lower back down. So that might mean the legs aren't as close to the chest, but that's okay. Bringing the legs back down, feet flat. Lifting up one of the legs towards the sky, maybe straightening it out. Toes back. And we can point the toes. Toes back. And we can point the toes. You can have the knee more bent, or perhaps not so high up. It's more in an angle. Just a few times, curling the toes back, pointing the toes. Remembering to breathe. Nice, deep, slow breath. And now we can bend that leg even more, placing the outside ankle on top of the leg. Staying here, if this is enough, to push on the knee, opening up the hips, or reaching through, grabbing the back of the thigh or the front of the legs on the shin. Opening up the hips as well as stretching out the butt cheeks. And a few breaths here. Again, keeping that lower back on the ground, not curling it up. Toes can be curled back, engaging the tendon to protect the knee with these more inward rotations. And bringing the feet back down. Opening up, closing the legs. And we can repeat on the other side now. So the other foot can straighten out right above the hips or at an angle, or maybe with a bend is more comfortable. Taking a few points and curls back with the toes. And bending the leg, placing the outside ankle on top of the knee with the leg that's planted, and deciding how you'd like to be here for a few moments. As best we can, staying connected to the body, breath, and practicing patience and kindness if the mind is drifting away from here and now. Bringing both feet down. Windshield wiping the knees from side to side. Feet planted firmly on the floor. Heels close to the fingertips. We'll repeat the bridges or the hip thrusters, but this time I want you to bring the knees together. So the feet are wider than the knees. And at the same time, as we're going to be thrusting up, we're also going to be squeezing our legs together. So once again, we can curl first the tailbone, squeeze the butt cheeks, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, pushing our hips towards the sky and gently coming back down. Doing around 10 of these. You're always welcome to do more or to do less, faster or slower than I'm doing. Remembering to keep the core and the glutes engaged, the legs in this variation as well as we squeeze the knees together. You can plant the hands into the floor to engage more the triceps and the back, creating space in between the chin and the chest to allow for a smoother breath in and out. As you come down, remembering to keep or have the hips be the last ones to reach the ground. So we really want to bring attention to the spine, each vertebrae moving one by one. And we'll make our way up, holding this modified bridge, squeezing, breathing with the sensations that arise. Maybe thrusting a bit higher up. And slowly coming back down. Bringing the knees closer to the chest. Bringing the hands inside the knees. Grabbing the outside of the feet. Remembering that lower back on the ground. Staying here. Or beginning to point the bottom of the feet towards the sky. Maybe straightening out the legs or keeping them bent. Whatever's most accessible for you now. Feeling a stretch in the groin, as well as in the back of the legs. Most of us spend a lot of time sitting, and we probably have tight hamstrings. So we can really notice the sensations here, the shaking. But we can smile and just breathe, soften. I'm bringing the feet back down, planting the feet on the floor. We will do some twists now. You can bring the feet together, legs glued together, arms out on the sides. So this is one variation. But before we drop the legs, just gently lifting up the hips, squeezing those glutes, and placing it a few inches or centimeters to one side. the opposite side in which your legs will fall. And then we can drop the knees together to the side, shoulders still on the ground, or perhaps if you want a different sensation, you can cross the legs. If you want, you can do an eagle twist with the legs. And then we again drop to the side. Keeping the shoulders planted on the ground, turning your head in the opposite direction. Nice deep breaths into the twist. With the support of the hand, we can bring the legs back up, planting the feet on the mat, squeezing the glutes as we lift the hips, planting them back to center. We'll repeat on the other side. So again, lifting, shifting, and then deciding how we want to drop the legs in the opposite direction. If it's comfortable, the head is turned facing the opposite direction of the knees. As you breathe in, expanding those lungs, feeling the sensations in the side, in the back, and perhaps on the out breath, saying what you can let go. With the support of the hand closest to the legs, lifting up the knees, planting the feet back down, lifting the hips, bringing them back to center, bringing the legs closer into the torso, giving them a squeeze, rocking side to side, remembering to keep that lower back, that tailbone on the mat. One last squeeze, maybe bringing the knees closer to the shoulders or the armpits. Planting the feet on the mat. You can drop the knees onto each other for half Shavasana, or you can straighten out the legs, moving into full Shavasana. If you have a big arch underneath your back, so if your back is really arched in Shavasana, then I recommend to be in half Shavasana. And if you just have pain or difficulties in the lower back, I recommend half Shavasana as well. Hands can be on the sides, palms facing the sky, or a hand on the belly, hand on the chest. Taking these last few moments to soak in and to be with the ripples, the echoes, the after effects of our movement for today. Exploring the possibility of breathing with the whole body. Reconnecting with your intention. Giving yourself a little gratitude and respect for making the time to practice. Rolling over to one side. Bringing the knees closer to the arms, coming into a baby position or a fetal position, curled up. This instinctually safe, warm, comfortable position. Placing the upper hand and arm for support as we push ourselves up into a seated position of your choice. Closing how you'd like. I thank you kindly for practicing with me and the others. All the best. Enjoy the rest of the day.